How in the world did we get to a point where this offensive line has been as bad as it's been this year? How in the world was the offensive line as bad as it was last year through the first 6, 7, 8 weeks of the season? How did we get here? Well, let's go back. Hot tub time machine. Let's go back and see what could have been done, what should have been done. Let's go to the past. You have to know where you've been before you know where you're going. So how do we get to this offensive line situation? Let's start in 2018. I'm going to go through this part pretty quickly. 2018, the Patriots used a first-round pick on Isaiah Wynn. That was a miss. In 2019, they used a third-round pick at offensive tackle. That was Yadni Kajust. That was a miss. In 2020, they took a flyer on Justin Haran in the 6th round. Sort of kind of a hit somewhat because he was a 6th-round pick, but he was not going to be a starting tackle for you at really any point. In 2021 and 2022, the Patriots used 6th-round pick and a 7th-round pick on an offensive tackle. In 2023, even though you knew you were walking into Trent Brown's final contractual season, you decided to not spend a single pick in the draft on an offensive tackle. So when you take 2018 to 2023 and you look at just the offensive tackle position and what you did during the draft, the Patriots from 2018 through the 2023 draft, they drafted 2 offensive tackles in the first 3 rounds of the draft. 2. Isaiah Wynn and Kajust. From 2020, so you go through 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, not a single tackle prospect drafted in the top 3 rounds. Now, I've gone through this before. 20 of the 32 starting left tackles week 1 this season were drafted in the first round. The best way you can find the tackle of the future is drafting that tackle of the future in the first round. Patriots spent 1 first-round pick on a tackle. It was Wynn back in 2018, and it was a miss. He wasn't good enough. 2 offensive tackles drafted in the top 3 rounds in the 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 draft. You had 6 drafts to try to address offensive tackle. You used only 2 picks in the top 3 rounds to look at that position, and you swung and missed on both. Massive, massive miss. An irresponsible draft approach given the situation, right? You had an older quarterback in Tom Brady back in 2018 when you drafted Wynn. Seemed like a good idea. Then Wynn fell off a cliff. And then you just decided to not throw draft resources towards the tackle position. We'll get to free agency in a minute. But an irresponsible draft approach for 6 years, especially the final 4 years. 2020 through the 2023 draft, you just decided to ignore tackle. That's irresponsible as a franchise. Let's look at free agency. In 2018, the Patriots re-signed LaAdrian Waddle, and they signed Matt Tobin. Okay, whoopity-doo. 2019, they lost Waddle, and they lost Trent Brown. In 2019, they signed somebody by the name of Cedric Lang. Don't remember him. In 2020, they re-signed Jermaine Illuminor. Pretty good signing, depth guy. In 2021, they brought back good old Trent Brown. And Trent Brown was good for that year. He gave you 1 good year. In 2022, they re-signed Trent Brown. That was pretty much a miss because Trent Brown went to the pumpkin Trent Brown. Off and on and off and on. Could never, ever depend on that guy after 2021. In 2023, did not draft a single tackle out of that draft and decided to sign Riley Reiff and Calvin Anderson. Now, Calvin Anderson, I'm going to give a pass to the prior regime because you can't predict malaria. But Calvin Anderson got sick, never going to be the same guy again, it looks like, unfortunately for him. Riley Reiff, everybody knew that was a major reach, and it backfired. He gave you nothing. How about the interior offensive line? You traded Joe Thuney. You traded Shaq Mason. You overdrafted Cole Strange. Then you drafted 3 interior offensive linemen in the last draft back in 2023. You drafted 3 of those guys. Jake Andrews has been nothing. He got hurt. He's going to miss the entire year. Antonio Mafi was a project. He has flamed out, has not looked good whatsoever. City So looks pretty good. Had a solid rookie season. Has been hurt at the beginning of this year, but you might have hit on City So. So that's the interior offensive line. You're trading top-tier interior offensive linemen, trading Tooney and Mason. You're not addressing it immediately with legitimate resources in the draft or free agency. Your biggest offensive lineman investments going back to 2018 were Wynn, Brown, and Strange. Now, again, So hit, Owenu hit. I'm talking about investing a lot. Top 3 rounds of the draft or spending money at the position. All you did, when you look at the top of the draft, top 3 rounds, and spend money, all you did was draft Wynn, bring back Trent Brown, and draft Cole Strange in the first round. And we know how Cole Strange has not worked out. So that's how we got to this offseason. That's the background. That's the context. You decided to just not spend any significant resources in the tackle position post-2018. You decided to trade 2 of the best guards in football over the past 10 to 15 years and did an okay job replacing at least one of them. Then you overdrafted Cole Strange because you traded Joe Tooney, Shaq Mason, and didn't do a good enough job in replacing either of those guys early on after their departure. That's how we got to this offseason.